before. And it is. If a mere code of morals or a better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many could have recovered long ago. But we found that such codes and philosophies didn't save us, no matter how much we tried. We could wish to be moral, we could wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. It failed utterly. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves, obviously. But where and how were we to find this power? Well, that's exactly what the book's about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. So I'm going to stop it there, and I want to emphasize one thing that was emphasized with me that made a huge difference. It says its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem, not so you can solve your problem. So back to you, Paul.
Thanks. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Paul from recovery. Yeah. Again, we're outmatched. Yeah. And we can't even live up to our own standards, if you want to call them our own standards. And again, you know, we would love to, but we seem to be obstructed. And that's a famous, very famous statement in the big, but the lack of power, that was our dilemma. And actually lack of power proves to be the solution, the admittance of lack of power. The dilemma of lack of power is when you think you have power and you don't. That's really the dilemma. Yeah. It's not the lack of power. That's a fact. It's been shown in our lives. Yeah. Over and over again, before we were drinking and after we stopped drinking, seriously. So lack of power, that was our dilemma because we're not acknowledging it. If you acknowledge it, that's the source of the solution in a way. Yeah, because then obviously the third step seems very attractive to one. Yeah, because you've realized you can't do it, but something can. That's very important. Many of us finally arrived there by living a long time on the basis we can do it and failing over and over again. Yeah, because what we were relying on is a failed system. Yeah. It says it very clearly in the book. Why are we in so much fear today? Isn't it because self-reliance has failed us? So it's not like self-reliance worked Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but on Wednesday it failed us. No, it said it's failed us. Like, yeah, it wasn't an unusual phenomena of failing. Its nature is to fail. Yeah. Because it has an agenda that doesn't, it's sort of like, something living on you has a different agenda than you do. If that's something that's living on you talks to you as you, then you think its agenda is your agenda in a weird way. And every time the agenda of your heart attempts to get traction, it gets stopped. Yeah, because the other agenda dominates us. Yeah. We're being used for transportation, really, in a lot of ways. So, yeah, this is, of course, it would be great if a better philosophy of life. But see, now that you're sober, a better philosophy of life can be quite valuable. It can. Before, when you were trying to use it to overcome something you couldn't overcome, it failed you. But now it's a great accompaniment with sobriety. to become clear about certain things. That's why with a lot of people in recovery, not even looking for it, they run into other philosophies like Buddhism and stuff like that. Yes. Or they go back to the philosophy they weren't seeing, and maybe they look at Gnosticism in early Catholic Church or the early church, whatever. Yes. So, and now that the problem in a way has been solved, that philosophy can be quite helpful. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not that the philosophies of life, they just weren't sufficient to overcome alcoholism. They can be a great accompaniment of recovery. Yeah. But to try to replace recovery with a philosophy doesn't work. That's what they found out because they tried to, probably, like many of us have tried to. A lot of people try not to be an alcoholic as a Buddhist, and they're drunk Buddhists. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter why. It's just the fact that when alcoholism reaches a certain level, it overrides everything else that you put in its way, so to speak. Yeah. The greatest philosophies in the world don't do it. But now they can be quite helpful. Yeah. So, yeah, it's basically we have found that these codes and philosophies did not save us no matter how much we tried. We could wish to be moral, we could wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but this needed power wasn't there because we've been taken over, outmatched. Yeah. So this exactly what this book is about, is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. All right, so there's a power greater than yourself, but what will enable you to receive that power greater than yourself? Yeah, or to access it, like they say, or to be used by it. Certain conditions have to be changed. That's the program of recovery. Yeah, based on a reliance on a higher power and 12 steps and tons of suggestions and the idea of service and unity and all this go about, yeah, to enable us to find, not only find, but to come to know this power that's greater than ourselves. Yeah. Now, I like to use that literally. I believe it's a power greater than self. Yes. I see self in AA terminology as the description or the title of the descriptive nature of alcoholism is rooted in obsession with self. This idea of being the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the alpha and the omega, the body, whatever you want to see, all these things combine to have us believe that we're something that we're not. Yeah. And in that believing in that something, we're opened up to be defeated by this movement. Yeah. Let's call it selfing. And then alcoholism, to me, amplifies selfing. I do. I don't, without the instrument of selfing, alcoholism couldn't play its fucking long sonata. Yeah. It needs the instrument, which is selfing, the idea of being a someone, and then that someone is used. Yeah. Yeah. So, so this is what this book's about. That means we have written a book we believe to be spiritual as well as moral. And it means, of course, that we're going to talk about God. Well, whatever, Yeah. Getting back to what we are attempting to put as a plank in the understanding is just page 64, being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. That would sound like the cause of the problem. Eh? In that statement, knowing it or not, and it doesn't matter what he says afterwards, that nugget came through, and I got fascinated by that nugget because that's the root of the problem. Self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. Are you convinced of that? Yeah. How can you be convinced of that unless you see self as different than us? Yeah. If you keep thinking it's us that has defeated us, you're not convinced that self has defeated us. Really, you're not. You're not in the state of being convinced because you still believe you did it. Yeah. Now, the idea of you believing you did it is suspect to me. I believe the head says it's you that believes you did it. I don't believe deep down the you, that unsuspected innermost, whatever, does not believe it did it. Yeah. It's very able to see what has defeated it as other. It's right there. All you need is the right pair of glasses to trigger an understanding that, and this is what happened with me. I swear, I had the privilege of leading workshops on the fourth step, so I was reading how it works quite a lot, the chapter, and I went over that thing right before you go into the inventory process, that paragraph with that nugget in there, and I read it so many ways. I read it as being implying me or ego or something. Yeah. I didn't realize the thing that was sitting there thinking it had an ego was self. That was the selfing. It was the whole package. It's not like I'm here and then there's something called an ego. No, the feeling of I'm here is self. It's sort of like its costume goes from head to toe. Yeah, it's not like wearing a pair of gloves. You're in it. The whole costume of Paul is selfing. Yeah. So when I saw that word self meant something other than it ever had meant before, I just felt that it was foreign to me. Yeah. So I was convinced that thing that was foreign to me is what has defeated me through its manifestations. So the first thing that changed was I did not call resentments mine after that. I did not call anxiety fear, first of all. I called it anxiety. Because most of the time we're throwing around the word fear and it's mislabeled because it's mental anxiety. You're not under an apparent threat right now. You just think you are. Yeah? That's quite different. So to be clear in some terminology, it's mental anxiety. It's not anxiety of the elbow or the ankle or the stomach. It's of the head where the problem resides. Yeah. It's mental anxiety in most cases. Yeah. It's not mine. It's not mine. Yeah. I lived as if I owned it. Yeah. And I saw how that worked. And now I'm living as if I don't own it, and I see how that works. And I'm telling you, it's a very broad contrast, and you could describe it as traveling heavy and traveling lighter, basically. Yeah. You could take all those years and just put them on the two banners, traveling very heavy, traveling lighter. Yeah. Where's the difference? Yeah. All right, I'm not physically drunk and shit. But where's the real difference is what's happening in the head or the reaction to what's happening in the head. When my head says I'm screwed, I don't take myself to be that I that's screwed. I see it as false evidence, attempting to appear real. But where is the false evidence constantly being presented to? Some sense of an audience, yeah? Yeah? So because it's not playing out this way, most of the thought system is in your own private Idaho theater, yeah? You're not proclaiming it out there. It's being yapped towards an audience, yeah, obviously. Or what? Maybe emptiness, but let's say there's an audience. And that false evidence to reach has to rely on us to appear to be real. Why? Because in this ball game, we're the reality giver. Yeah. We make things what they are in a way. That's the role here. Yeah. So false evidence appears real, needs something to appear real too. It just doesn't appear real, does it? It has to have, there's got to be something there that it's appearing real too. It doesn't seem like it plays to a large audience. It seems to play to an audience of what you would call one. Yeah. But what happens after it appears real? Yeah. That's where the heaviness lies. Yes. So decisions are made and circumstances, of consequences get set off. And then a lot of shit happens, like a misfortune we feel we don't deserve, but did not we set the ball rolling? Yes, because of taking the false evidence as real. Yeah. So where don't you see that as the point of the solution, really? Is to be able to see false evidence as false evidence. Because then the circumstances and the consequences that ensue are quite different. Maybe you'll be able to enjoy peace of mind. Yeah. Maybe you'll know the word serenity and understand whatever. Yeah. There's going to be a huge reaction when you see false evidence as false, just as there is a reaction when you see false evidence as real. Yeah. We don't talk about false evidence as false much. We're mostly talking about the fear of false evidence appearing real. But there is the opposite, false evidence appearing false. Fucking nothing happens. Yeah, that means anything can happen. That's fucking revelatory. That's like being alive. Yeah. And it's right at that starting point, isn't it? Do you want to find out false evidence was false evidence after while you're serving your 20-year prison sentence? I'd rather know before. Don't you think? Wouldn't you like to see the false evidence when it's appearing just like that than when it starts to appear real? Fuck. I mean, then it's all harm reduction after that, really. Yeah? I mean, the horses are out of the barn. Something's going to get trampled and shit. So this, to me, is the spiritual awakening. One of the main aspects of spiritual awakening, you awake to what's true or false in the head. Yeah? You awake to it. That which you once took to be true, you see as false now. Yeah? Yeah. And really, that's the whole, it's truly the epitome of trusting the infinite rather than finite self. The constant faith in false evidence as real is trusting the finite self, isn't it? When you see false evidence as false, knowing it or not, you're in the condition of trusting the infinite. Yeah? You're not buying the advertising anymore. And what makes it easy not to buy the advertising is to have the real product at hand. Yeah? So you're satisfied and content now. You're not interested in a 30-year plan of how you will finally get satisfied and content. Yeah? You're interested in enjoying satisfaction and contentment. Yeah? It's like the old story I used to do. It's perfect actually for it. The old story about the rug in Turkey. Yeah. When I landed in Turkey and I was on a round the world trip. So that was about almost 2/3 through, I guess, halfway through. I got to Turkey and I was at a guest house, met other people, and then we went to where in Istanbul, you always go to this place called the Blue Mosque, and I think it's called the Sophia. Beautiful places. Sophia was awesome. It was a Muslim temple, whatever, mosque, and then they were cleaning the tiles, and they found tiles underneath it, and it actually had been a first century Christian church. So they took all the and they brought it back to the original, and it's just incredibly beautiful. So we were there, and some well-dressed gentleman came up and said he'd like to show us around. So I was a little suspicious, but I said, okay. So he took us around, perfect English and everything, very nice guy. And then he brought us to this building with a little door, knocked on it, and a guy looking quite like him answered. And then that first guy you never saw again. And then they ushered you into a big rug emporium, and they offered you Turkish coffee or apple juice, and they asked your name, and Mr. Paul, do you want apple juice? I go, yes, apple juice. So you bring you in, and then all these bunch of guys start bringing out these rugs, like throwing them around, and just like an incredible display. Yeah. And so, the advertising was incredible, but you had to realize I didn't have a house. I didn't live anywhere. So I was very clear that I had no floor, Floor. So a rug was completely unnecessary. So no matter how much coffee and apple juice they gave me, I wasn't going to buy a rug. It was just, I had an immunity to the advertising. Yeah. And they were going, well, we can fold it up and put it in your backpack. And I'm going, I'm not going to go to Thailand with a fucking oriental rug in my backpack. You know what I mean? So I really appreciated the show, but I didn't buy the product. Yeah. This is sort of what it's like. If you're convinced of something, seriously, it brings about an immunity to a lot of advertising. Yeah, it does. If you still think you got something going on, you may think that rug could be the answer. Yeah. You're good. And then once you buy the rug, you got to get a matching lamp, and then it goes on and on. Then you're on it again. Fuck yeah. And then you don't know. I don't know what happened in a week or two. You're drunk or shit. This is the beauty. Yeah. Are you clear that you're fucked? Yeah. Or screwed, if you want to call it. Yeah. Have you realized that the head is never going to be convinced? The head. It believes, even if you throw all the evidence that you have that you're not managerial quality, it will come up with its idea that if I only could manage better, everything will work out. It still believes that it can pull it off. I mean, you can't wait for it. You can't. You got to realize the problem resides in the mental condition. You can't rely on it. The innermost is speaking to us. Yeah. Maybe in silence, maybe in intuitive thoughts, maybe in a feeling, whatever. But it's saying something to us. Yeah. Have the ears to hear it. Yeah. Be convinced that self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. How does it usually present the beginning of its stage of defeat, which is false evidence? Where? In the head. Why does it seem so convincing? Because you believe it. You have faith that next week is more important than today. And so today gets overwhelmed by thoughts about next week. If that ain't slavery, I don't know what is, really. If you can't even be in this moment because you're enslaved to yesterday and tomorrow, wow. That's the bondage of self, yes? That's the bondage of self. It's not your bondage. You are something else and self. And then there's a bondage of self on us. Us is not self. The bondage of self is on us. It's limiting possibilities. Yeah. If you can reach 8 feet, you can only now stretch to 4 feet. It's got you bound. Yeah. It's got you bound. It's an activity, and it's presented in the head, and its basis is false evidence. with the faith that it's going to appear to be real to you, because it has over and over again. Yeah. So if you start breaking away from its little story, it'll bring out the big guns. You'll never be loved. You're never going to get it, whatever it's, yeah. Just like trying to pull it back in, you know. But you've reached into another gravitational field. You're now being pulled by the higher spirit. Trust the process. You had a little modicum of faith in the spirit as we have in the head, fucking miraculous things will come to pass. Yeah. Yeah. This is what the program is. It's allowing a transfer that we cannot do, that we cannot produce, and that is the faith that shapes our life, that has been put into the finite self, is going to be moved and put into the infinite. That's what we're doing. So stay on the operating table. Don't get up. Don't play the doctor. And it's going well. Yeah. Get sucked into the new gravitational field. Of course, you get old radio blips from the past, you know, like, oh, whatever, wow, you're whatever. I can't even put it in words anymore. It's sort of like it's like when a car backfires. Yeah, it's like a reverse burp now. It's like when I wake up, it tries to, what the hell? I mean, jeez. You have to see faith has to do with everything right now. The false evidence appearing real is based on faith. Yeah. The false evidence appearing false is based on faith. One, faith in the finite, one, faith in the infinite. Really. You don't have the eyes to see. You're given the eyes. The head gives you the eyes to see false evidence as real, and then the higher power gives you the eyes to see false evidence as false. Yeah? You're not the optometrist. You're being fitted with glasses. The self says the glasses are your eyes, so you never check them out like you can take them off, but they're baloney. They're not. And the higher power just gives you what you need to correct the past lenses, yeah, with the hopes that you'll take both of them off and see, yeah, which to me is the spiritual awakening. See, not with glasses, yeah, see, yeah. So, yeah. So if you've been restored to sight, you can lend the glasses to other people. You don't have to get them back. You just lend them out. You have it by giving it away. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Thanks for the reading.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I like the if. It's the if only when you say people, sometimes you'll hear, oh, it's always going to be like this. It's like, no, that's the condition telling you that.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got Oliver's got his hand up. Go ahead, Oliver. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Try again, Oliver. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for having me. It's the first time I got a suggestion on my YouTube flow. I'm broadcasting from Sweden. Well, I have had my issues with alcohol, and I find Paul intriguing. How many questions am I allowed to ask?
Well, that's
Let's
based
start
on
with
the
one.
It's based on the first question.
Okay.
Good.
Well, I'm here to be inspired. I don't own the truth or anything, and I have some discrepancies there. And by asking those questions, I'm hoping to increase the quality of my own perception.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be the most important question here? How can you
It
be
doesn't
sure?
matter. Any question's fine. I was just joking.
how can you be sure that what you say is not false evidence too?
Well, after a while, you have the ability to see the difference between true and false. It's one of the qualities that they talk about in the big book, I think, comes back. You'll be able to tell the difference between true or false, or you can't tell the difference between true and false. You're going to outgrow that, and you'll be able to tell the difference between true or false. Yeah. And when you believe the false is true, you'll learn that it wasn't. So in a way, you can't lose. You'll learn as you go along. Yeah. To me, it's almost different frequencies, really. Like I would call the mental states downloads more of a horizontal download, and then something else has more of a vertical feeling, like an insertion. Yeah. But you start being able to tell the difference between frequency, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
See, if you're only hearing one station, you need the introduction of another station sort of to see what's going on. So now you've got two stations playing out of the same radio, and the radio's ability to cognize the difference comes about. And so, yeah, the radio lends itself to be more open to one frequency than the other. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with it. Frequency stuff. Yes. You see, I can see like a red thread, the self and the mind somehow interacting in a not constructive way, and there's some ingredient there which is like deterministic or something. I don't know how to call it. So there were other people who had a quite a different view of the mind. I think when I hear you speaking about the mind, mostly as something that is in the way. So
Well, I'm talking more about the mental processes are in the way, not big M mind. Big mind is, I see as everything and nothing. I'm talking about mental processes when I'm talking about selfing and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I find I wouldn't give the terminology of mind to the mental processes. I would see them as mental processes. Yeah.
In terms from a neurological perspective, like pre-existing connections.
Well, let's say it's the basic format. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so,
what would be your definition of power then?
my definition of power?
Yeah.
I wouldn't, definition seems to be sort of like a box to me.
Understanding of power.
Power is more of a fluid motion, energy. So I don't have a definition of power. I feel it, I sense it, but I wouldn't, definitions to me are like shoe boxes and stuff. Yeah. I don't think you can put power in a shoebox. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't have a definition for it. Same thing with
I could have asked your understanding of power. When I have a black spot, like I don't understand something, I don't know how to relate to phenomena, then I go to the Chinese character for it. Mostly, I look at it from an etymological perspective, like the oracle bone scriptures, and then I start there and I compare it to my pre-existing understanding of what could power be.
Yeah, that could be helpful if it is. Yeah.
Well, I don't have any more questions right now. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Oliver. Appreciate it. It was That was a unique one. Yes. I like when I was younger, I like Taoist, Lao Tzu and Chung Tzu, those type of philosophies. Yes. The thing is for a lot of people, the philosophies can be an accompaniment with power, but they don't induce power from a lot of people. Yeah. So sometimes when you're deprived of power and you read those things, there's a hope involved. You're hoping that maybe these ideas will work, which I think is explained in the reading in the big book right now. Yeah. But when there's a feeling of power and then you read those words, it's an accompaniment. It's not, it sort of goes along. It's sort of almost like if you're in a current of water and then some of these philosophies are depicting the movement of water, it works. Yeah. But you need to have to me, the power is the essential. And then maybe a philosophy as a way of directing or something. Yeah. But without power, the philosophy is empty, I feel. Yeah. If it becomes mentally only in the mental state, it's not going to serve you really. So, but yeah. Yeah. That's my feeling of it right now.
Thanks, Al.
Power is the sense of power obviously isn't individual. It's not and it's not coming from a thing. But the sense of power, in a way, its assurance rests in itself. The power is assured of itself. Yeah. It doesn't need much accompaniment. Yeah. 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 So I think the dilemma of lack of power causes people to try to grab these things, like it just described in that book, We Agnostics, and try to extract power out of the philosophy where it doesn't hold power. It's filled with power. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the philosophy needs light. Light is power. Yeah. The light looks through the philosophical lenses and maybe sees things that wouldn't be there if you look it through a self-centered lens. Yeah. But it's the light that's informing everything. Yeah. It's the power. Yeah. All right. Had my.
Have we got any other hands?
Now, so you can feel it now and attempt to describe it.
Mm.
Yeah. The whole dilemma is lack of power because we're confused. Yeah. Something is saying a lot, but it can't back it up really. So the unsuspecting inner resource is power, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So the idea of the higher power and surrender allows a seeming access to that power. Yeah. But when people say the steps got you sober, I don't believe that. I believe it's the power through the steps. Yeah.
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 So, yeah. All right. Thanks.
Got it. You got one more, Oliver?
Yeah, it's unfortunately everything is like a process. Everything evolves all the time, and it has been difficult for me to relate to relatively lots of information and find my own red thread in it. But now I've been listening again to Paul, what he's saying, and we were talking about power, and that it is the light, and that it is not in, well, I heard what he said, then is except the 12 steps I'm also a certified, you call it a treatment assistant. I worked in jail with people who have problems with addiction, etc. And for me, it's not the only way to unlock the aisle to power, so to speak, or the path to power. Maybe the 12 steps is one method, but is there a common denominator between the 12 steps and other 12 and other steps? Like, and what would that be? In my world, it's pretty simple, and I think Paul also knows the answer somewhere. So what is the common denominator between the 12 steps and other functioning methods to sobriety?
Us.
Right.
Us.
Mhm.
Yeah. Us. So for some us's, the program works. For other us's, something else works. Yeah. Does the thing itself work, or does the us give it the meaning of working? I would say it's the us giving the meaning of working. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I have a fondness because how it's worked in this life was through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah. I would probably have the fondness if it had worked through Buddhism, but this is how it's worked here. So I have a fondness for this program. Yeah. So, but it always comes back to us, not as us as Paul, but us as what we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can use whatever it wants to go wherever it wants. So, yeah.
So we got another hand up, Oliver. Another Oliver.
Pleasure to
Okay.
meet you, Oliver. Yeah.
Thank you.
You got it, Oliver? Berlin.
Hello there. Hi there.
Hey, buddy.
I apologize. I'll just say to me, I mean, I waited. Anyway, I had, if you remember, some technical issues these weeks, and now I have a bad throat. So maybe God doesn't want me to ask this question. I don't know. Anyway, here it is. So like 2 months ago, I asked you a similar question about you know, the self pattern, but I limited to, you know, this presence. I limited it to a self presence in media and how it troubles me and all that, because it's everywhere and it's so loud, right? And I
I think Oliver number 2 ended at I.
There you go, Oliver.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, hi there. So yeah, how long did I was I
You were at
on?
I.
Yeah, so I had a question like 2 months ago, and about you know, the sales pattern being obvious in media and how the media is very aggressive and I don't know, manipulating and all that, and how I was so troubled by it. And you really said some, I don't know, were very inspiring, and I thank you for your answer back then. You know, I have to say though, admit that I wasn't completely honest in this question, because I said that I'm not that troubled exactly by, you know, what's going on in the world, that I'm more troubled just by the presence of this pattern, you know, this you know, dominance and immanence of it, right? I actually am very much troubled, you know, but to be honest about, you know, what's going on in the world, where the world is heading. I don't need to check Ukraine or Yemen in order, you know, for my heart to be broken. I can just see what's going on in your country over there, you know, and the whole demise and decline in society, and, you know, which comes down to so many new personal and family tragedies. And you know, stuff like that, I'm pretty much sure doesn't happen in in uh, in a society where people are aware of self and self's manifestations, right? I would say that they are not. I wouldn't say that people in such society would be, you know, enslaved in the way they are nowadays. You know, it seems that we're heading towards complete control, which is technologically possible nowadays, and that technology seems to be, and you know, governance seems to be completely in line with self, right? So
Oliver, let
isn't it?
me jump in.
Yeah.
The idea of self that we can look at, but the outside situations, we don't want to. I have opinions, but we don't use this platform. Yeah. So, but the idea of the broadcasting of the same dynamic that you have in one's head on a larger scale, yes. But in our case, in my case, to be of help where I can be of help, yes, is the seed assignment. I don't,
Mhm.
yeah.
But
So
actually, I'm not. You know, my question is not, you know, somebody's opinion about, you know, uh, the world situation. I just wonder on the personal level, isn't it? How should I say? Shouldn't an aware person be in some sort of an opposition to self's agenda? You know, in a sense that we do not support the system in
yes,
any way possible. Yeah.
yes, you would hope that, but it's not necessarily the case. Yeah, because there's a see railing against a system is part of the system. You see, uh, critiquing the system is in part of the system. It's sort of like the old story I like to use, if I got it right, from the Matrix trilogy, where Neo, looking pretty cool with his long leather jacket and Ray-Bans and nice haircut, meets a manifestation of the programming called the architect. And he walks into a room, and the room has all these little TV monitors, and it's Neo on each one, Keanu Reeves, in some action figure pose. Yeah. And so the architect starts talking about Neo. Oh, Neo, the savior. And he says, yeah, you're the seventh savior we've had in the programming. It was an aberration at first, and then it got absorbed into the system. And now you're number seven, when his whole story was he was the one, Neo. Neo had a rude awakening. So, in some ways, I think some things are beyond my pay scale as an action figure, but I know I can come and do these meetings and be available to people in my life, and
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And I could go into my intimate takes of this place. I don't truly believe this is a real place, seriously, but it sure can feel real. I'm lucky it's doesn't have much pressure on me in the world, but it could. But
Mhm.
on some level, I just don't believe this is happening. Tell you the truth. I think the production cost would be astronomical for each actor only to live for 80 years or something. It seems to be a little, you know, the wardrobe itself, so whatever, but I, I feel like in my little pond, I can be of help and I can allow others to be of help to me. And I think there's a great interchange of that in life. I mean, I have a lot of masters in life, mechanics, because I don't know how to work on cars sufficiently, a lot of masters and people come to see me for certain things. Yeah. So it's sort of, yeah, but I, yeah,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Catherine.
Yeah.
Let's get,
Thank you very much,
thanks,
Paul. I
Oliver.
mean, that's why I say not supporting, so not doing something. I wasn't actually, meaning doing something.
Yeah,
Actually, not doing
yeah,
something. Yeah, not
definitely not.
supporting.
I'm definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's sort of like being in the carpet place, and
Yep.
I'm not supporting, I'm not going to buy a carpet. But hey, I can enjoy the show and shit. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill.
But
Yeah.
hey, this place has a lot of everyone's dirty here. That's how it goes. Yeah. When you're walking in the dog shit awareness, everything gets dirty more than just your shoes. Yeah. There's yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
So anyone else?
Yeah, we got Catherine.
Catherine.
Hey, Paul. I'm just chiming in for some clarification because I've been, I turned in my brown noise sound at night and I've been putting on your old videos to go to sleep to. And thank you for that because it's been tremendous. Clarification, and thank you, Kurt, for picking this reading because
Sure.
this is what's been coming up, especially with my sponsees. And I put a note in that little paragraph about lack of power for page 55, because I really resonated in page 55 where it says down deep inside each man, woman, and child. It's this fundamental idea. And later on the page 55, it says about the great reality is found in us, and there are, paraphrasing, only there can it be found. And so I'm kind of transferring over what I hear in the other platform that you speak from and this platform where I come from in recovery. And I'm really seeing somebody seeing, I don't give, the word is just, but I'm getting it, right? And I'm just like, saying like, and clarifying, that has clarified it for me, I guess, in a sense.
Great.
Between the two platforms coming together for me, because one of the things that I've noticed, like this traveling lighter thought has been tremendously powerful now, and each day, like staying in the day, staying in the moment. And I don't know if I could have gotten this, a year ago. One thing I've done in between now and then is been able to listen to The Journey Home by Lee Carroll, which has helped a lot, and like separating myself outside of the world, like in that death experience Michael has in the book, and then the angels take him through the different colored houses and about letting go of the things that we travel with. And he was able to let go of these things that we all travel with and getting lighter along the way, eventually coming back from death, so to speak, but he probably just was in a coma, I don't know. But, it's just great to, it's great stuff to be able to finally in recovery have some clarity of what they were trying to tell us back then to today,
Mhm.
and feeling so much lighter. And then I guess the only thing I can say beyond that is like, I am going to listen more and more because I want to absorb this as much as I can so I can transfer this thing across to my sponsees, you know, because everybody gets so tied up in a Christian orientated thing because of the way the book is written, but it's not really about that. So thank you. That's all I got. It really wasn't a question, just thanks. And hey, I'm going to be flying out to California for a month tomorrow. Anybody in California, like Mickey down there in Madeira, or anybody, I'll be at Transitional Group at noon in Sacramento on June 10th, Friday. So I'm celebrating 3 years again, and it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah. Get in touch with us if you want. I'm about 2 hours from Sacramento. Hour and a half.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thanks for the share. Anyone else? How are we doing in time?
Well,
Does it-
it's 11:35. You wanna wrap it up? You wanna?
No, it's all right. I
Yeah.
have someone coming here at 12, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Oliver, you got your hand up again? Is that? He
All
does.
right, Oliver, you've
You're,
you know, there's a quota for questions. You just ran out of your year quota. So
I
now
was
you're into future. You're trading in future questions.
I got you. You got me there with the answer. Us. It's us, the common denominator. Like I love that one, and it triggered an inner vision of a wave, surf. You know, maybe you have surf experience. I don't know. So if we are if we all are the water, then we create the wave, and we're on different places inside the wave, and we are the guys on board and in the boats, and we do the good stuff and we do the bad stuff. It's all of us, you know. Then I transitioned into like non-action and non-action. I thought about asking you how do we go from action to non-action, but then I went to how do you relax, and then I heard Catherine about this angel guiding someone in a fictional thing. And then I built the bridge from relaxation to near-death experiences, and alcoholism somehow relates to that in severe cases. So how do you recommend we authenticate and transform near-death experience in terms of relaxation?
a different format. Totally different format. Literally.
Did you understand
Yeah.
my question?
Yeah.
Oliver,
Oliver,
you crossed the line.
yeah.
Go back
Different
to your
format,
seat.
Oliver.
Go back to your seat and
Yeah.
all
right.
Beg
Listen.
for forgiveness.
Yeah. Thanks, Oliver.
Okay.
All right, Paul, why don't you wrap it up? You can say your goodbyes. Thanks for everybody coming today. I appreciate it. And
Yes.
we'll see Michael next week.
It's such a lively thing.
Yeah.
Like it. Yeah. All right. Well, we got Kurt. Thank you for running the show.
Yeah,
As
you're welcome.
always. Walter, there he is. My brother from another mother. We got Lucas. Nice to see you, Lucas. Beautiful there. I'm not gonna go here again. We got Miss S. I'll stay with that. Nice to see you, honey. Anu, I can always remember that lovely name. I love the word Anu. Yeah. Doesn't Anu work for you? Anu, like fresh. I like it. Mickey, the matriarch of Madeira. There she is.
Thanks for
Her
helping out.
influence is spreading. Catherine. Thank you, Catherine, for your share. And congratulations on 3 years. Fantastic. Yeah. We got Kim. Always a pleasure to see her. Yeah. We got Oliver. Yeah. He's trying to come up with another question. There you go. See you, Oliver. See you soon. We got Dave B. We got Bill C. Mr. Churchman. Nice to see you, Bill. Let's see. We've got Susanna W. Hey, there she is. Terry from Maine. Deborah B. Nice to see you, Deb. We got Gabe, Chris, AA. Oh, nice to see you, Gabe. You're letting your hair hang down. There you go. We got Jacob and Alex. I think they're in, I don't know where, Seattle or, oh, we got Kaiser. Kaiser making a guest appearance. Kaiser, you look like you got locked in a tanning booth.
No, I just got sunburned. Good to see everybody.
Jesus, I can feel the heat coming off you from here. Gotta get that moisturizer on. All right. I think that's it. So always a pleasure. See everybody. We'll be here today, 4:30 Pacific time. It's on Zen Bitch Slap, where we jump to the other platform, the non-duality platform. So that's 4:30 Pacific time, and then it's all on Zen Bitch Slap, and we're coming back east. So June 24th, it's going to be. I think it's up. Some of it's up there already. We'll be going to have some recovery meetings and non-duality stuff. So we'll be back east till the 30th. I think we're going to have 6 talks in 5 days and stuff. So yeah,
Very good.
we'll put that up, and we're going to be in Great Barrington, not too far from Maine. There you go, Terry. So I'll see you.